And so they're going to try to do whatever they can in these coming months to keep us in a low state of fear. Don't buy into it. Don't feed into it. Just hold the line. Stay in the frequency of love.
What if the powers in play have planned another false flag operation that is to put the population so much in fear that they are willing to give up all their rights of freedom? Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Celia and I'm a Danish model, actress, content creator and angelic coach. We're gonna talk about something very special. What if the powers in play have planned another false flag operation that is to put the population so much in fear that they are willing to give up all their rights of freedom? This may be something that could happen, and this has been really trying to come out in the light for decades at this point. I have decided to make a video on this subject, well, mainly because I had a feeling to. I think the most important thing we can do at this point is to stay conscious, is to stay awake, so that we can consciously decide which future we want to partake in creating. So my intention for making this video is to help inform you guys and to give you guys the faith and courage to make a choice for yourself about how you want to live your future and about how you will decide to make choices about your life. So basically, let's get straight into it. This theory is about a planned fake alien attack that is supposed to put people so much in fear that they are willing to give up all the rights to the government. The bigger plan is to create this one world government where basically they have control over every single citizen, a very fascist and totalitarian society, because then people are easy to control. Then the people in power, they can decide what's going to happen with the world, and they can stop the world from progressing. We have to understand that these powers are powers that are against progression. They're against development, they're against liberty, they're against freedom. So they're basically against human nature, more or less. The thing is, the planet is right now in a major ascension, and these powers are losing their powers, but they are fighting as much as they can to keep control. Whereas the planet, on the other hand, is raising its beautiful energies, providing these amazing energy and this amazing information for the people who are conscious and ready to take it in. If you're here watching this video, you are probably one of these people. You can decide to go along with the ascension. I think personally it might be important to be informed about this scenario in case it might come to play, so that you actually know what's going on and that you can see behind the smoke and mirrors. To explain this whole story from the beginning, we have to go back to 1974. In 1974, the American school teacher Carol Rosin met with the German scientist Werner von Braun, who had been a top-ranking Nazi scientist. Werner von Braun had been brought to America after the war was lost by the Germans because he had a lot of knowledge, and he was since then working in the government, the American government.
Good morning, my name is Carol Rosin. In 1974, after being a 6th grade school teacher, I was introduced to the late Dr. Werner von Braun, in the U.S. the father of rocketry. In my first meeting with him, during that first 3.5 hours, he said to me, "Carol, you will stop the weaponization of space."
Werner von Braun was diagnosed with cancer and was given a few weeks to live, but he believed he would stay long enough time to be able to share what he had to share. Being near his deathbed, I guess this man had the courage to actually come out with some things he had seen, because he really didn't have much left to feel. He decided that Carol would be the person that he would expose everything to, giving her the responsibility of bringing this to the light and of making the necessary actions. Of many things he exposed to Carol, that first of all there were some powers in play that had a bigger plan. This plan was not for the benefit of everyone. In fact, it seemed that the plan was one of maintaining control, and to a bigger and bigger extent possible. He said that he had seen from the operations in the American government that they had several strategies to gain more control, and that they were working on weaponizing space, which to him didn't make much sense considering that there were enough threats on Earth to deal with first. He said this plan involved creating fear so that the government would freely be given more power from the people, because the government would be seen as the savior, as the one helping. This is called a false flag operation, and we've already seen this come to play right now with terrorism and with many of these things that, if you really look into it, look like there may have been some planning involved. He explained that the governments basically would use different ways of creating a threat out there that they would have to protect people from, and therefore people would give them more power and freely give away their rights. Basically, it's just fear-mongering, and when people are in fear, they are more willing to give away their rights of liberty, love, light, and life. He said that at the current time, Russia was the big enemy, and that was during the Cold War, obviously. Carol actually went to Russia to see if there was any truth to what he was saying, and what she found in Russia was that people were not at all hiding anything from her as an American. She actually had a list of top-ranking people she wanted to meet in Russia, and she met every single one of them except the president. Considering that she was American and supposedly Russia was so against America, why would they let her meet all these people so freely?
That the weaponization of space is now first being based upon the evil empire, the Russians. There are many enemies, he said, against whom we're going to build this space-based weapon system. The first of whom was the Russians, which was existing at that time. Then there would be terrorists. Then there would be third world countries. Now we call them rogue nations or nations of concern. Then there would be asteroids. And then he would repeat to me over and over, and the last card, the last card, the last card would be the extraterrestrial threat. Well, at the time, I kind of laughed when he said asteroids, and when he said extraterrestrials, I knew I wasn't going to deal with that subject. And now we hear on the news just today, this week, that they've slid in another enemy. Only this time we're going to protect our satellites. In other words, we have to have some reason to spend these trillions, to waste these dollars on a space-based weapon system, and they're all lies.
He said that an important part of this plan would be to weaponize space, which sounds maybe kind of ridiculous and doesn't make sense when you think about it, but as he explained, it could be a way of even controlling regions or whole countries who would be against this one world government, and a way of really trying to control completely the whole population of the planet. He said that the news medias and news outlets were a big part of this plan, and they would be used to spread this agenda as well. Sounds familiar? He also told her that we actually already have very advanced technologies. There already have been a lot of footage leaked online, especially from Nazi Germany, of levitating vehicles that do not run on any fossil fuels. And he said all of this technology the governments have, but they keep it away from the population because they want to keep the population in control, and because they want to keep these technologies for themselves. Having this technology would make a staged alien attack very, very, very possible, because they can use something so advanced we believe that humans don't have it. But more importantly, and what I took note of the most from this, is that he said we have the technology to build a society that doesn't depend at all on fossil fuel. To build a society that has a lot more free energy, which would make society a lot more abundant, a lot more clean, a lot more sustainable, and a place where there are resources for everyone. This technology the governments already have. Yet, they do not care about creating this society. We already know that this sort of society is possible. Buckminster Fuller in the 50s were part of showing that we could actually host up to 10 times as many people than what we are in a completely sustainable way, just by redesigning the way that we are living.
And behind the philosophy is one man who has spent a lifetime helping people do more with less. This is R. Buckminster Fuller.
The world isn't working for everybody. Why isn't it?
Because
because they're trying to solve all the world problems with politics.
Most striking development is a revolutionary low-priced home designed by Buckminster Fuller for mass production. With their present potential, the nation's aircraft plants could turn these out at the rate of 2 million a year.
I hear a lot of people say, I don't like machinery and technology, it's making a lot of trouble. Upset all the old things. So we're going to take all the machinery away from all the countries in the world, all machinery. All the tracks and the wires and the works, we're going to dump it all in the ocean. And you'll discover that within 6 months, 2 billion people will die of starvation, having gone through great pain on the way. So you say, that's not a very good idea, let's put the machinery back where it was. Then, we're going to take all the politicians from all the countries around the world, and we're going to send them a trip around the sun. And you find we keep right on eating. And with the political barriers down, you'll have what the scientists have said is necessary. The scientists say very clear, you could make the world work and take care of 100% of humanity, the highest standard of living than anybody's ever known, despite an increasing population, but you can't do it with the barriers. The scientists say very clear, you could make the world work and take care of 100% of humanity, the highest standard of living than anybody's ever known, despite an increasing population, but you can't do it with the barriers. In 1927, I decided man was operating on the most fundamental fallacy. He was operating on the basis that man was supposed to be a failure, and therefore he had to prove his right to live, and each man then thought he had to say, I can show how I can earn my living. The other people are supposed to die. I decided that the fallacy was that man, as designed, was designed to be an extraordinary success. His characteristics were just magnificent. And what would be necessary would really be to find out what were the great comprehensive patterns operating in the universe, how then the metaphysical man as mind could become the master of the physical. So I then said, I think my first grand strategy of finding out how to use the world's resources so they will take care of everybody would come back then to how to take care of his living equipment.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a first and very crude paper model of a house designed for industrial reproduction. Its requirements must be that it should be proof against fire, flood, tornado, earthquake, electrical storms, marauders.
This was the part of the story that touched me the most because it made me realize we have everything we need right now to create heaven on earth. We actually have it right now. We have it within us, first of all, but because we have it within us, we are capable of creating this society, and the technology seems to already be here. The only reason why it's not out there, why it's not the reality, are because of the forces of entropy that have been in play. And these are the forces we need to overcome in order to create the heaven on earth that we all deserve. That is our birthright. And Wernher von Braun was part of exposing this, that this already is a complete possibility. Yet this government, they want to keep these technologies for themselves so that they can carry out their plan of mass fear and mass control. This makes you really see the true nature of the government, which doesn't seem to have anything to do with the human, who I believe humans are loving, kind, and conscious beings deep down. This kind of story has been exposed by many different people, and recently, in the last decade, it has been put out there by Dr. Stephen Greer, who made the documentary The Disclosure Project, not only talking about this theory, but actually revealing how we have had so much contact with extraterrestrials, and also how a lot of this technology actually have seemed to come from humans. According to this documentary, a lot of UFO sightings are actually just sightings of the UFOs built from the government. And there have already been several experiments and several trials of these UFOs done by the government to, first of all, create these small UFO sightings that will create fear, such as the ones of cattle mutilation, abductions, etc., and also to test out how it will all work out in the end. They also note that all of the information we've gotten from Hollywood around ETs, have you noticed how fear-based it is? Independence Day, War of the Worlds, Alien, how many of these movies are actually positive when it comes to aliens. Most of the time, these aliens are depicted as predators that want to kill humans or overtake the planet. But those are, in fact, the very forces that we seem to have in play in our own governments already. So you may think, but this sounds crazy. Why on earth would they spend so much time, energy, and decades on planning something like this? Why can't they just do something quickly, take over people's rights quickly or whatever? Well, this is not how it works in the Western world right now. Too many people are used to their freedoms, and we have seen in history too many times what a fascist and totalitarian society does. This would have to happen through the back door in a way that people are not aware of this actually happening. And the way they do this is by creating the fear.
And supposedly these forces trying to create these scenarios actually depend on the creative energy of humans. We each have so much power, and we have a power in what thoughts we choose. And some theories go that these entities or powers don't actually at all have this creative power, so they have to manipulate humans into certain thought patterns, certain emotions, in order to be able to feed off this energy. And that's why we as humans and we as creators have a choice in which path we choose.
So I believe there are mainly two goals with this fake alien attack, which first of all is to create a lot of fear so that people will willingly give up their rights to stay safe, and of course to implement more control, just like all the things we've seen up until this point. To be able to control people more, to implement more measures that supposedly is for your safety and for everyone's safety. And of course all of it will make the government look like the good guy, because they're the ones doing all the work for you to be safe, when in fact they're the one creating the problem in the first place. The truth is, this plan cannot be carried out without humans. Do you notice that they don't just go in and take the power directly, because they need to do it through humans? And that's the most empowering thing, because that shows us one important thing. You are the one in power, and you can decide which direction you take in this game. You do have the power, and now is the time that you can reclaim it. This will be a time in the history of the planet where there will be the people who choose love and the people who choose fear. And you can consciously decide to choose love. Of course, when you are in the frequency of love, all of this fear-mongering, it doesn't reach you. You see straight through it, because you understand what life is really about. We do not come together in fear. This is not what unites us. It may temporarily, for a moment, push us together. But what we really come together is love. Because love is our true nature. Love is a frequency that connects us all again. Love is the connection with nature. If you really truly want to unite in a way that's sustainable, natural, and with freedom for everyone, it's through love. The truth is, according to many people, aliens are already here, and they have been this whole time in the last few thousand years. There may even be some of these forces playing a part in the governments trying to control humans. And then there are other types of aliens. According to other sources, they are already surrounding planet Earth and protecting us big time for specific reasons, because Earth is going through a very important ascension right now, and this ascension is not only going to affect Earth. This is something that's going to affect entire universe. Many people are trying to figure out why we're here. They don't understand their purpose. They don't understand the history. And while there are many, many theories out there, I want to share one that I personally resonate with a lot. And that is that Earth is one of the most diverse planets in the universe. And that they're basically DNA of every single alien race on Earth. If you think about it, this could be true. Look at the diversity of animals, humans, bacteria, etc. And that this Earth is basically a playground or a place that is here to help create lasting peace in the entirety of the universe. To help create this unity, to help create this God returning to source. We are supposedly this place where this can take place. We are like the microcosm of the macrocosm. If we can manage to find this long-lasting peace on Earth, so can the universe. And that's probably why the aliens or whatever are trying so hard to win the one way or the other. But now it's up to the individual, it's up to every single human what you decide to do. If you choose love, all the work you have is inside yourself. It's all about you reclaiming your power so that you can see clearly through any smokes and mirrors, and so that you can make choices that not only serve you, but that actually serve the entirety of the planet. You have to understand that every single decision you make is not only affecting you, we are interconnected through electromagnetic field. And when you, for instance, break a bad habit, say you've been a smoker and you've stopped smoking, you stop feeding the field of addiction to smoke, and you actually are helping every single person out there who wants to stop smoking. It is this powerful. We are disconnected and we have so much power, each of us. That is my whole message with this video, and that's the whole thing I really want to convey to you guys out there, is that no matter what these forces and governments have planned, no matter how much fear they want to put in you, you do not have to succumb to it. It's important to be informed. I suggest every single one of you to arrange your life in a way that is as free as possible. Learn how to grow your own food. Learn how to receive the energy of nature. Learn how to cultivate love in the middle of fear. Learn as much as you can about being a free person, because this is what will help you to feed the earth of love. This is what I share here on my channel. This is what the purpose of my channel is, to help you reclaim your power. And I want every one of you to realize how powerful you actually are. The evidence is quite compelling, and I think this theory is correct. I want you to make up your own mind. Also, you can research it by checking out the links I have in the description, because I put all the resources that I found. Again, make up your own mind, but even if it sounds crazy, just think about it for a bit. See where we are now. See what actions the governments have taken, and try and put the pieces together. Don't be surprised if something like this happens. Just be prepared. If you're prepared, you don't have to worry about a thing. That will be my main suggestion for you. If you want to learn more about how you can claim your power, check out How to Communicate with the Angels, which is based on science, which is based on 6 steps that help you purify your physical, mental, emotional vessel so that you can see clearly and truly experience this life and connect with your intuition. I also have a Patreon where I share extra material, and I'm gonna share meditation there that really helps raise your frequency to that of love. This is one meditation I use every single time I feel like I really need to change my frequency, so I highly recommend this meditation. Also, if you want more videos like these, of course, subscribe to my channel, join me on Instagram, and do let me know in the comments what you think about this. I'd be very, very curious to know. Okay guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I love you all, and I'll see you guys in the very next video.
There is another path, just outside the gravitational pull of that black hole of disinformation. It's the path I've spent my whole life fighting for and protecting. It's the path that leads to enlightenment, world peace, and the realization of technology so advanced that to us, they would seem magical.
To say, look, we need to work on ourselves. We need to elevate our consciousness. We need to hearken to the higher angels of our own nature.
And that, I think, is the only way we're going to have not just world peace. You know, world peace should have happened at the end of World War I. We have to have universal peace. At this point, world peace is too late. We're already in an interstellar moment. We're already in a cosmic time. So we have to have universal peace. And universal peace comes from both our external policies and behaviors and from within, the great peace within, the state of universal consciousness.